Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining the Service Leaders Network Virtual Service Conference and for joining this roundtable with Fisher and Paykel. We appreciate your time. We hope that you'll find a lot of great experience here with this presentation that Fisher and Paykel is going to do for us. And Tim Thompson will be presenting that. I'll let Tim introduce his credentials here in a moment. I do want to say that during this presentation, if you would like to ask questions, if you would please do that in the chat box. If you're not familiar with the Zoom platform, you may not see that chat box until you take your cursor and bring it down to the bottom of your screen, because that banner will disappear. But if you bring your cursor down to the bottom of the screen, the banner should appear. About smack dab in the middle is the word chat, and you can open chat and place your question in there. As well, you'll notice that in the chat is a drop-down box that you can ask everyone a question. That will be a public question. If you want to send your personal information or contact information, you want it to be private, you can do so by in that chat box selecting Tim's name and then type it in, and he will get it, and only he will get that information. So the other thing that I wanted to mention that is that as they go through the presentation here, we'll have some discussion about warranty and different aspects of warranty. However, this is not a forum to discuss your individual warranty rates. So we ask that if you have any questions regarding your rates, that you contact your field service manager for that discussion and take that offline, as well in consideration of the 30 minutes time, maybe 25 now by the time I stop talking. We ask that you not give war stories. We all have them, but we certainly want to keep on task here. The last thing that I'll mention is the presentation that Tim will be showing is available for you to download. If you didn't see that download link before you actually joined this session, there was a link at the bottom of the description of this session that says session materials. And if you want, you can jump out of this Zoom meeting and go download that and then jump back in. I will tell you that when this meeting ends at the 55-minute mark, that the session will disappear from the main schedule and it will not be available anymore. But I also want to mention, for those of you that Nationwide Marketing Group and Service Leaders Network members, we'll be posting that on our Service Leaders Network MemberNet. So without further ado, I would like to introduce and have Tim come on and tell you all the great things that our good partner, Fisher and Paykel, has to offer.
Thanks, Mark. So I'm sure I probably don't know a lot of you out there. So a little bit about myself. I've been in the appliance industry for over 35 years. Almost half of that was spent with General Electric, always in the service capacity. I do love service. I mean, there's something that comes out of really solving a consumer's problem and walking away with that satisfaction and sense of accomplishment. When it comes down to it, the customers today are even more demanding, so it's even more of a challenge, and I like a good challenge. So with GE, after that, I went over to a company that some of you may know. I was part of the startup crew for A&E Factory Service. And then left there for a while and kind of went back into a little bit more of my engineering background with some commercial and industrial mechanical engineering, which was a good change. But then the appliance industry was really just calling me back. So we'll get into this presentation. Mark was kind enough to forward some questions that I guess some of the groups from the roundtables really had. So hopefully I'm going to address those questions here in this presentation. So here at Fisher and Paykel, we don't we don't really call our service department the service department. We're more the customer experience, because that's really what we believe in. We believe in delivering a premium customer experience. So what I've actually added into the presentation is a general map. So it's a good idea for any of our ASCs that may be on the line in this panel, or even if you want to become one of our authorized service centers. I've provided a map with all the regional service managers' contact information, their email addresses, their phone numbers. I've also included all my information down at the bottom. So if you have any questions, as Mark alluded to, if there are any questions or things you want to discuss after the meeting, please, by all means, you can reach out to us, send us an email. Everybody lives within their respective time zones. So one thing that we look at is the ease of doing business. So basically, we really just give two phone numbers to get a hold of. One, obviously, is the Global Support Center, customer care. We prefer everybody calling into them. They create the cases, and they will send them out to each one of the regional service managers if we need to be involved with something like that. And then we have our technical support number, which if nobody has these numbers, please write them down, or again, download the presentation. So another ease of support, this is something new. We're actually giving this to our dealers to give to the customers. So this way the customer, because since COVID, we all know how to use a QR code, especially if you like to go out to eat to dinner. There's no menus anymore. You got to use a QR code on your smartphone in order to see the menu, or in some cases, even place your order. So with this QR code, it just makes it easier for the consumer to go right in, place a service call, or if you're in an area where there is no factory service and you're one of our authorized service centers, that's where your phone number and contact information come up for the service center to reach out and place a service call with you. So getting into some of the questions that we came across. So here at Fisher & Paykel, we do have parts distributors. We use Marcone, Reliable, Encompass, All Brands, and Coast Appliance. As far as the discount on the parts, there is a 20% off list. If you're one of our service providers, you make it onto a list, and the parts distributor or parts house, they know to give you that discount. Now, we have started some new programs. One is a Parts Direct. Now, Parts Direct is new for this year. We use that for our premium servicers because we have two different service accounts. We have your standard authorized service center, and then we've recently started with a premium servicer program where we're looking at what we consider super city, mega city, New York City, Boston, Washington, D.C., just to name a couple. In those areas, we look to bring on some of the larger companies that are really going to deliver a great brand experience to the consumer. And for that, as part of being signed up and delivering on those KPIs, we give them the ability to order parts directly from us. Now, in most cases, what we see is they only use that in an emergency when there's a part not available, and we have it in our warehouse, but maybe one of the distributors do not have it. So we will look at that. Some of the companies don't want to really order parts direct, but we want to give you the option, especially when it comes to resolving a consumer's problem quickly. So another question that came up was parts freight. Here, so at Fisher & Paykel, we are more than willing to cover the freight cost on the parts. Now, there's one caveat that runs to that, and that's really the order has to consist of all Fisher & Paykel parts. So as long as you're placing an order just for Fisher & Paykel parts, we will pay for the shipping on all those parts, especially when it comes to like door panels. If you're replacing any cosmetic panels that are quite large, we know that the freight charges since COVID have gone through the roof. So we will certainly cover those charges. But Now on return parts, there is a little bit of a difference. If there are parts being returned, we do not cover the freight coming back. Now, we want to be fair to everybody, but we also we want to be fair to ourselves. We do realize that, the business has changed. Nobody really wants to stock a lot of parts. And really, honestly, as an independent, how many parts can you really stock on your vehicles? This is really just meant to discourage shotgunning a service call, ordering 15 parts to only change one ahead of time. So we have actually had to kind of stop that and, put the freight return cost back on the service centers. So, and there was another question that came up about OEM parts. Now, for the most part, most of the Fisher and Paykel parts, there's not too many companies out there really making anything that can be substituted into our parts. But being in this business for a long time, there was a joke back when I worked for General Electric, and it was really, we were a bunch of lawyers that knew how to fix appliances. Well, there's some truth to that, because when you use a non-OEM part, you open yourself up for some liability in case something happens, because not all parts are created equal. Every part, or the manufacturer, may have a different quality specification on those parts, and they may look the same, but they're not always the same internally. So, you're putting yourself and your company at risk if you're continually using non-OEM parts and trying to substitute in some of those cases. Saving $5 here, $10 there may not be worth the aggravation in the middle of a lawsuit. So that's my 2 cents on that piece. So as far as processes, we try to document everything we want an ASC to do, how to file a claim, how to get resolution for customers. So any of our vendors that are signed up with us, you get access to what we call Cool Blue World. And I put the website up there on the presentation. Right on Cool Blue World is the North American Authorized Service Center Procedure Guide. Now, currently, if you go on there, you will see it's 2018. We are in the process now of revamping it and updating everything. So that should be done pretty quickly. Exchanges was another question that came up by the I guess the teams. So our exchanges, there is no general rule of thumb on exchanges. Each exchange is on a case-by-case basis.
Damn, it looks like we lost you.
He got exchanged. Where'd he go?
Hi all, we're gonna try to get him back on. Looks like his internet went out. Just give us a few moments.
Thank you, Jenny. The wonderful world of technology. You gotta love it. I just want to mention once again, for those who may have popped in a little late, that the content that Tim is sharing is available for your viewing pleasure on the Service Leaders Network website within MemberNet. Once you access and log into MemberNet, if you will go to the Service Leaders Network icon, which is under the Services tab up at the top, then you'll be able to access that, and you'll see a category for manufacturers. And in that category, you'll see all the manufacturers' logos as a folder. And in that folder, you'll be able to find the information that he has posted here as well. During this moment of silence, shall we say, if you want to drop out of this session and go back to the main listing of sessions, under Fisher Paykel, you'll see a blue link that says Session Materials. You can download that link. You can download that presentation, which he's showing on the screen here. And then you can jump back into this session to learn and hear more about the details of each of the points. There's about 10 questions that have been submitted by nationwide members, dealers, and servicers for each of the manufacturers. The questions are the same across all of the roundtable discussions, and each of the manufacturers are addressing those as well as time permits. So please stand by, and we'll get back here in a moment.
How about now? Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
All right, I'm back.
Yes, we can.
That was weird. I did lose internet, but then this microphone was in the red. So, all right, I figured that one out. All right, so I guess I left off on the exchanges. Really, exchanges are on a case-by-case basis. Our global support center, they have the authority to make decisions on those exchanges, as well as our TAC team. So any technicians, definitely do not say it to the customer. Just say, hey, listen, I'm going to call Fisher and Paykel. They'll be back in touch with you. Let me just give them the report. And then we will get back in touch with them and we'll make a decision on something like that. Back-ordered parts, right? They should always be escalated to our global support center. They will help track down parts, or at least get a message to the correct people who can expedite parts. We may not have it in stock, but we do have stuff sitting in some of our rework facilities, or even our vans, our factory service vans. We've been known to pull parts out to fill customer orders. So you should always just give a call to the 800 number and they should be able to help you. Installation. All right, so the question came up about installation and where we stand on covering that. So, I mean, installation costs, service calls, they are not covered. The cost is truly the customer's responsibility. And if they want to charge back their installer, they possibly can. So just keep that in mind. We talked about premium service. So, when we look at what our KPIs are, we look at getting service completed in 7 days or less. We want to see recalls 4% or less. We want to see every customer scheduled in 24 hours or less. And we're looking to have a first-time fix rate 88% or greater. Now, that's kind of tough, especially when you repair every manufacturer out there. So, we do urge some of our companies to start taking advantage of either pre-screening or contacting your local regional service manager and working with him or her to get the list of the fastest moving parts. There is also another option too, where you keep just one bin of Fisher and Paykel parts in your facility, and when those calls come in, that technician takes the box of Fisher and Paykel parts, takes that tote with him out to the customer, and that will also improve your first time completes. And really, as far as reviewing your KPIs, you should always be scheduling a meeting with your regional service manager. They do like to get out and meet everybody and really build that relationship. So we talked about claims, where there was a question that came up, why do claims get rejected? Well, there's a lot of different reasons for that. So first and foremost, it's going to be a repeat service call within the contracted period. So, depending on your contract with the manufacturer, we have different time periods depending on what level of servicer you are. Excessive parts on a claim, shotgunning a machine and changing 8 parts to fix one problem. That's a clear indication, hey, there's something wrong there. You don't need that many parts. Excessive service. We may go back and see that you've been back at that customer's house every 6 weeks for the last 9 months. And right away, that's a red flag. They're going to stop that right there. Wrong or incomplete model and serial number. Now, why is that important? Because every manufacturer handles this the same way. The factory manufactures the product, but the service centers have to basically charge them back for the repair. So we're transferring that cost. And in their world, they're saying, well, I need a model and serial number if you expect me to pay your claim. I need to know it really is my machine. Parts don't match the model number, right? So, technology today can look at all these things, and really, we know when the model number doesn't match the parts, that's another indication. Wrong or incomplete authorization numbers, right? That's wherever authorization numbers are required. You get a phone call from a regional service manager asking you to go kind of outside your territory, or there's a special request and we're going to pay you extra money. You're going to get an authorization number for that. And if you don't copy it down right and put it into your claim, that's another reason for a rejection. None or poor work description, right? So we have to know what you did, and it can't be, it was broken, I changed a part, I repaired it. We need to know a little bit more information, because that information is very important to us as a manufacturer. We take that information, we look at the complaints, and we look to make product improvements from what we're seeing. And we don't make every single part. So some of those parts are purchased from vendors. So if we're seeing a certain failure, we'll go back to the vendor and hold them accountable, because because of their part, the consumer didn't get a premium product right out of the box, and we can't have that. And again, the other reason, work performed doesn't match parts and model. And here at Fisher & Paykel, we don't just say the claim is rejected. Most or 99% of the claims will go in and they will be conditionally rejected. And generally, there's a little note in there in Cool Blue World that says contact your regional service manager. And at that point, you can actually call him or her and talk through it, and plead your case basically and say, hey, this is what happened here. All right, rates. So, we understand we're not a cold business, especially coming through COVID. We understand that, everybody's costs have gone up: shipping costs, freight costs, gas prices, insurance prices, everything has gone up. We are always open to negotiating rates for any of the Fisher & Paykel authorized service centers. Our main goal is we want to deliver that consistent premium service to every customer across the board. We do know that rates or the cost of doing business is different in Oklahoma as compared to New York City or Los Angeles, right? Different cost structures. So we will negotiate. And what are we looking at when we're negotiating these rates, right? We're going to go back. We're going to look at your performance. We're going to look at your attendance on any of our trainings, right? Because if your techs aren't being trained, they're not delivering a premium experience. And on top of it, they're taking too long on the service call, which is not great for your business, because time is money and it's service calls. We're going to look at survey reviews, customer complaints. We also take into account dealers and the sales team's feedbacks. What product lines do you service? Are you a self-servicing dealer? You only service the product you sell? We're looking for a good partner, good business partner that's going to service product no matter who sells it, because who cares? It's the customer that is going to suffer in the end. And we're looking to have our service centers treat every customer, warranty customer, with the same urgency they're going to treat a COD. And I know we all know COD is where the bread and butter is, but just remember that warranty customer today is tomorrow's COD customer. And, obviously do service customers no matter where they purchase the units. Very, very important to Fisher and Paykel. So the questions came up, what are we doing to help fund service technicians? Nobody wakes up one morning saying, hey, I know what I want to do for the rest of my life, my career. I want to, at 18 years old, I want to be a appliance repair technician. Although this is a great job, right? It pays well. It just doesn't happen. So what we're trying to do is, we offer free training to all of our authorized service centers. We're in the process of setting up more centralized trainings. The skill and the experience that this team, my team, brings to the table is, a couple hundred years worth of service experience. They know the products inside and out. They can teach you things that are not just on our products. They can even teach you some sealed system. So we're donating product to trade schools. We're donating training materials. We offer to come in and be guest speakers and the subject matter experts to any of those trade schools. And obviously, we're increasing our national sponsored trainings. We're putting on a couple training classes here through this virtual conference. Please, jump in and take advantage of those. On the horizon, what do we have? We're trying to move to the future and get into direct service call dispatching. So the customers will call us, we'll validate the warranty so you don't have to, then we'll call you and we'll give you the information and we'll schedule, hey, this customer wants this date. So that's on the horizon, that's coming in 2023. We are experimenting with virtual reality service assistants from our technical team. We've experimented with it. Now it's just really building a business case so we can actually get the funds approved to do that. And we also have a trade portal being built currently, which will be a one-stop shop for everything. And basically, this is what our trade portal looks like. So if you have any questions, please reach out to either myself or any of the regional service managers. And if you're not one of our authorized service centers and you're interested in it, please reach out to us. We are looking to bring on as many servicers as want to come on board with us. And I think that's pretty much it for my spiel. And I think I'm ending just about right on time.
And that you are, Tim. And thank you so much for your time and for addressing these questions that have been important from our members and our whole membership. And we appreciate your support for the Service Leaders Network and working with us. So everyone, thank you very much for attending. And we would like to remind you that the trade show begins in just a few minutes at 6 o'clock Eastern time for 1 hour. And you'll find many vendors and trade partners on there. And we hope that you'll stay for the rest of the show and visit the trade show vendors. Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Tim's team. And have a great day, everyone.
Thank you. Have a great day.